Bill?
Look, I really think that the Supreme Court today really tried to reset some of the laws that we've seen the Democrats use to make expansive social changes. So when we look at student loan forgiveness, the court said, you don't have the authority under the statute, go to Congress and get the political will to get it or find another statute. And in the other case, the Colorado case, it's really standing up for the First Amendment, which means you can't be compelled to speak in addition to being able to be told what to say.
I think this is really an opportunity for Democrats and proponents of, creating more inclusivity and more space for marginalized communities. They're going to have to come together and create some renewed efforts around making sure that there's more access and more space for people who have been historically disenfranchised.
The Roe decision was unpopular. And people across the United States, Republicans paid a serious price for it. These decisions will not be unpopular, or at least not as unpopular to that degree. Affirmative action, unpopular with voters. The Cake case is complicated, so I don't think there will be the kind of downstream consequences for anybody that there were from Roe last year.
And we saw President Biden immediately, well, not immediately, but taking the opportunity to go for the second day in a row and react to a Supreme Court case. Of course, yesterday it was affirmative action. He's pledging to use a 1963 law, which he says is going to take a lot more time to make sure that people have some student loan relief. Question is, President Biden was reluctant to even offer this to begin with. I mean, remember, Elizabeth Warren and other progressives wanted him to make it $50,000. He came down on $10,000, and he initially said Congress needed to act. And Darienne, it appears that now it's back in Congress's court. What can President Biden do to make sure it passes? I mean, does it even have a chance?
I mean, I am hopeful that there is a chance. I think that advocates will continue to push for this. And I think the goal of the administration will be to bring together a coalition of willing participants to put together legislation that will help provide some relief.
And what I really think is going to happen is the Democrats are going to focus on the people who would have benefited from the program. The Republicans are going to focus on the welders, the carpenters, the electricians who will bear the cost of this loan forgiveness, and also the people who actually played by the rules and paid back their loans. Where's their check? And so I think this is going to be a very divisive issue, and we'll see how it plays out.
I'm going to read from the Supreme Court opinion, the majority opinion, again, coming from Chief Justice Roberts. He says, we hold today that the Act allows the Secretary of Education, to waive or modify existing statutory or regulatory provisions applicable to financial assistance programs under the Education Act, but not to rewrite that statute from the ground up. And Julia, it appears that the majority on the court, a 6-3 majority, again, feels as though the administration overreached.
Yeah, and it's really not surprising, this decision. We kind of saw that telegraphed yesterday with the decision that was putting out. This is a conservative court. But I think, to Bill and Darienne's point, it's interesting talking to moderate Democrats about this. You get sort of the sense of why Biden was so reluctant to embrace this. Talking to a lot of moderate members, they often tell me they wish that the administration would have really gotten to the root of this problem, gone straight to the universities, where you have such high tuition and try to lower it from there.
Yeah, let's talk about the cost of tuition. I mean, if there's an industry in this country that is ripe for disruption, if there is a bubble that is waiting to be popped, it's got to be college tuition. The cost of public college tuition, the cost of private college tuition is up near where the median of household income is in this country. It doesn't make any sense at all. And yet here we have the Supreme Court making it more difficult. Did it benefit?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Hold on. They didn't make it more difficult because it wasn't going to happen. The problem here, if we think back to, remember when Trump took the money from the Pentagon and said, I'm going to build the wall with it, after Congress had said 7 times, even under Republican, even under Republican control, it said 7 times, you may not. And he said, well, I'll just take it. That's what I'm going to do. And if they don't like it at the Supreme Court, they can turn it back. We watched Biden do this on the eviction moratorium, and this one was particularly cynical. This was a particularly cynical undertaking from this administration. He said, Congress, you should pass this, right? Congress said, I don't think we really can get there right now. Why don't you just go ahead and do it? Biden says, the Supreme Court will probably knock it down. But the good news is we'll blame Republicans and we'll discredit the Supreme Court and we'll say that it was Republican-nominated justices who took this good thing away from you. Joe Biden has just as much a responsibility, if not more, to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So did Donald Trump. So did Barack Obama. So does every president. This is a cop-out, and I think it's not
All right, we're going to
cool.
talk more about.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.